Hello, Leo, and welcome to this, your May 1st through May 15th reading. We're going to have a look at the dominant energies, what's influencing you, what's coming up for you. Before we get started, a couple of quick notes. First of all, this is a general reading for anybody born under the sign of Leo, as well as anybody else who has a significant amount of Leo in their charts. Again, general reading, so it's going to resonate with some of you, possibly not with all of you, but if it does resonate with you, it is definitely your reading. You'll notice my background is a little bit different right now. My son and I are in the process of moving, so I am in a temporary location. You may hear some strange noises coming through my microphone. I am out in the country. The woodpeckers are very active this morning. I also have a lake out in front of me, so as boats go by, it does get a little bit noisy. All right. Also, I recognize that I look blue, and I'm not sure why. I don't know, maybe the alien DNA is coming out a little bit or something, but anyway, the lighting is what it is, and I'm still getting this reading out to you in a timely way. I am recording this reading here at the end of April with the intention of this video covering the time period between May 1st and May 15th. If you are curious about timing of psychic readings, tarot readings, why sometimes they line up and sometimes they don't, please check out my video for April 1st through April 15th, where I did an individual reading for the Leos. And I went into significant detail in that video about why timings in psychic videos can sometimes seem a little bit wonky, and there's two reasons for that. Anyway, you'll have to go see that video. All right, Leos, let's get started. For those of you returning, a very warm welcome back. And for those of you who are new here, thank you for joining me. Thank you for clicking on the suggested video if it's come up to you that way. Okay, for those of you who are new, I pull all of the cards first for the different areas that we're going to look at. I do leave them sitting face down until I'm actually ready to read them. And the reason that I do this is it allows for more of the psychic or intuitive insights to come in a more organic way, rather than me seeing the cards and that influencing what's coming in. All right. Okay, Leos. Let's start with a card or two of where you are at now here at the end of April. Okay, well, that was more than a card or two. If we have many more come out, and that one's all the way down on the floor. If we have too many more cards come out, we're going to have to just mix up the cards that did come out and narrow it down, because we've got about 20 cards that came out. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's collect up all of these cards that came out and see if we can narrow this down. There's one. Is there anything else for the Leos? We'll go through this 3 times. No. All right, so there was just one card intended there for you, Leo, for where you're at now. The next cards that we're going to pull are the cards of what you are focusing on. What are the Leos focusing on for May 1st through May 15th? We have a card that seems to want to come out. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Apparently you have a lot to focus on right now, Leo. Let's put these in the order in which they came out. Okay. The next card that we're going to pull for you, Leo, is a card of difficult influences. Where are we going? I'm getting called in 2 different directions. Yeah, it's a little bit stronger this way. Difficult influences for the Leos, May 1st through the 15th. There's 1, 2. Okay, well, we're into 4s here. Nope, 5, 6. Okay. All right. We have 6 cards that have come out here for you, Leo, in difficult influences. All right. Let's have a look at cards that just make sense. I'm getting called back over to the same deck. Oh, that's interesting. I'm getting told that some of these 6 cards that came out are not difficult influences. Okay, the bottom 2 definitely are. They were the first cards that came out. Difficult influences. Is there anything else for difficult influences? That one is. No. No. Okay. Are any of these cards that just make sense? I gotta know. Nope. No. Okay, so those will go back in the deck, and we're going to use this deck for your This Makes Sense. Now, the This Makes Sense cards are cards that oftentimes have exactly the same meaning as other cards in your reading, thus giving you a double confirmation of those energies. Or they are cards that begin to pull things together. And Leo, because you have so many cards jumping out right now, there is the possibility that once I start turning these cards over, things are going to seem a little bit scattered. And then we're going to turn over some of these cards that just make sense. And all of a sudden, it's going to tie the whole reading together. And that's not uncommon as well, especially when I work with as many decks as I do. But I love working with this many decks. Because I do find that different types of cards with different types of pictures and meanings on them resonate better for my clients. Speaking of clients, I do offer private readings. If you are so inclined, contact information is in the description box. Okay, the next card that we're going to pull for you, Leo, is going to be cards of unexpected influences and insights. Where are we going? What is unexpected? Okay, over here to the fairies again. Unexpected for Leo. Oh, these cards. The first few cards always just want to jump. Unexpected. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, Leo. Look at the mess, how the cards are going into my hand. This is an indication that that there's some scattered energies for you right now. We do have one card that's come out for unexpected. Let me just set this deck down and confirm. Is there anything else? Yeah, there is. Okay. See, even this deck, look at the way that that's going together. Unexpected. Yeah. Leo, as far as unexpected goes, it seems that you've got a lot going on. There is a card that's sticking out here. I'm going to pull that and set it off to the side as a maybe read, depending on the other stuff that comes up. But it did stick out the entire time that I was shuffling that deck. Okay. Final overall outcome. Now, these cards are where you are projected or anticipated to be, what energies will be influencing you at the end of the intended time period for this. So that would be right in and around May 15th. So general overall outcome of the reading, where the Leo's going to be at come the middle of the month, middle of May. Anything else? We got one card out. Is there anything else that the Leos need to know? Okay. Oh, you just have the one card here. Okay, interesting. Based on the way that the cards came out, and there were so many flying around, and then finally, we just had the single card come out. Without looking at any of the cards, I am going to predict that you're going to be in a place that's going to be more balanced and kind of more settled, like with more clarity going on, Leo, come the middle of the month. But mid-month, just based on the fact that the cards just really jumped and went quite crazy, I'm thinking that there may be a little bit of this tendency to be a little scattered. Okay. Yeah. So the very first card that we have here for where you're at now is the Justice card from the Fairy Tarot. And this is a card of details, making sure that all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, making sure that if you are entering into any kind of contract at this time, Leo, making sure that you've read the details and that you understand on a really, really deep level what it is that you're entering into. I want to remind you as well, Mercury retrograde, if there's any possibility of you being able to postpone entering into a new contract at this time, you may want to do so. Timing just isn't really, really wonderful. In the end, ultimately, things will be good. The Justice card indicates that there is a positive outcome, but in order to achieve that positive outcome without a lot of hiccups and without a lot of bumps in the road, you are going to have to really, really pay attention to detail right now. Let's have a look at what you're focusing on. Okay, interesting. We have two cards that are reversed and two cards that are upright. So let's get started with what you're focusing on. Remember what I said before I turned over a single card, that I had this intuitive insight, especially because of the way that the cards came out, that things were unsettled for you and that there was a whole lot going on. Yeah, untamed wilderness. So if you're focusing on untamed wilderness, you're focusing on this and that and this and that, and there's a lot going on, right? We know that when we go out into the wilderness, there's a whole lot going on, and a lot more than what meets the eye. It's not just about the trees and the sky and the ground beneath our feet. There's so many organisms and microorganisms and birds and bugs and animals, and there's all this going on, and it's wild out there, and that can cause us to feel very ungrounded. Okay, so Leo, this is one of the things that you're focusing on. It's great to focus on being a little bit less tamed, being, getting into some wilderness and being less structured in what we are doing. But as you do so, remember that you are still going to ultimately need some structure in your life, right? We can't just throw caution 100% to the wind and believe that our lives will still roll along and be in that place where we can make sense of it, right? So what this card is telling me, Leos, is that at this time you are making changes that will ultimately be positive, but you may be in that place of trying to make those changes too quickly. And it's causing you to feel wild, untamed, and ungrounded. The next card that you have is the Volcano in reverse. Now, the Volcano in reverse, what this is telling me is that normally the Volcano card is about a release and an explosive release of change. What this is telling me, like I said, it feels like you're making some changes here and you might be making the changes too quickly. What this is telling me is that ultimately, as you go through this change, you do need to release the past, but you need to do it in a way that is calm and controlled rather than this explosive release. So, let go of the past for sure, but do it in this calm and released way. The next card that you have is the Rain card, and this is a card of renewal. I'll turn it over just so that you can read it. And what this card in reverse is telling me is that you are in this time of renewal, but the renewal is going to take a little bit longer than what you had originally anticipated. I can see the sun coming through the window. It's just hitting part of my head here. It's making my lighting funny. Okay. So what this is telling me is, yes, you are definitely going through a period or a time of change and shift, but the ultimate renewal is going to take a little bit longer than you originally anticipated. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, Leo. That's perfectly fine. But this is telling me that, you're kind of impatient. The final card in your focus is the honeybee and community. This is telling me that your life is sweet, especially when you surround yourself by people who can support you through this change that you're going through. Okay. The honeybees create honey, create a sweetness for us. But honeybees cannot survive solo. They do require community. And so, Leo, make sure that as you're going through this change, you are surrounding yourself with community. Okay. The other thing is that what's coming up for me to mention, and it's funny because I normally don't mention that with this card, but it makes sense. Honey is sticky. So, Leo, when things feel wild and untamed and you feel like you can't go on and you feel like the renewal is not coming as quickly as you would like it to be coming along, remember to stick with it. Just like sticky honey sticks all over your fingers. I mean, think about it. When you go to open a jar of honey, even if you've washed off the lid from the last time that you used it, when you go to use it again, it's sticky. You always end up with sticky fingers no matter what you do when you eat honey. It's absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything get that into everything all the time. So I don't know why this is coming up, because I normally don't talk about honey being sticky when this card comes up, but this intuitively, Leo, is telling me that you need to stick with whatever you're doing. All right, the sun is about to come right in on my face halfway through this video. That's going to be a little annoying. Okay. So in your difficult influences, you have your she-wolf, unleash the wild within. Okay. Interesting that you had the wild and untamed coming up. And then in your difficult influences, you have unleash the wild within. And what this is telling me is you are focusing on making changes, being a little bit more wild, being a little bit less structured, and yet you're also struggling and bumping up against that. And it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be, Leo. That's not to say that you should throw in the towel and not do it. What it is saying, I'm just going to move over here a little bit. What this is saying is that it's a little bit of a struggle for you to let go of the structures that are going on. And it's a little bit hard for you to trust in the higher forces and trust that there is a greater plan and that what you're doing is the right thing. I mean, these cards are indicating that what you're doing is the right thing. This move, this change, this shift that you're going through. For many of you right now, it's a full-on change in lifestyle. There's something that's come up. You've woken up to something and you've just gone, that's not working and I'm going that way and nothing's going to stop me right now. That's your wilderness untamed. That's this wild coming up. But from May 1st through May 15th, Leo, this wild is going to be like yes, I'm going. Oh God, I'm scared. Oh yes, I'm going for it. Oh God, I'm scared. There's going to be this back and forth. The fact that you've got these wild cards coming up in these two different areas of your reading. Again, trust in the higher forces, trust that what's coming up for you is meant to be coming up for you, even if some of it may appear a little bit difficult. And you've got the protection guardian coming up. Drop your shields. Okay, so when we're going through this awakening and God, that's going to be annoying. When we're going through this awakening and this realization that perhaps life is not as it originally seemed, or we're realizing that our life is way too structured and we need to do something more fun and more exciting. When we're realizing that we need to have more community around us and we need to seek that out, we have a tendency to put up shields around ourselves to protect ourselves in some way. And this is in your difficult influences. You're being asked to drop your shields. You're being asked to open yourself up to the community that you're actually, this is in your focus. You are focusing on creating a better community around you. And then you're walking around with shields up and not letting anybody in. That's a contradiction, Leo. So you're being told, drop your shields. It's okay. If your focus is creating more community, then you're going to have to drop your shields and let people in. Let's have a look at This Makes Sense. Yeah, make plans and focus, dream and journey, love and let yourself be loved. These cards all make perfect sense right now. Okay, make plans and focus, right? If you're coming from this place of being wild and untamed, if you are trying to unleash the wild within, you got to make plans and focus, because otherwise things are just going to seem insanely wild in your life. Crazy sunshine. I'm not going to complain though, after coming through some pretty crazy weather. Okay. So this card is basically saying you got to make plans and you got to focus, because if you don't, you're going to end up continuing in this wild, untamed wilderness. And we know that when we're in the wild, untamed wilderness, it's a little uncomfortable, right? And we don't like being uncomfortable. Okay. You have the dream and journey. Okay. The dream and journey card being right next to make plans and focus is telling me that, your idea to go a little bit more wild, to be a little bit less structured in your daily life, that's really what's coming up for me, is that, Leo, a lot of you have this structure. You get up in the morning, you make your cup of coffee, you shower, you do your hair, makeup, or shave, or and then you go off to work and you do your job and you come home and you make dinner and you watch Netflix and you go to bed, and then you rinse and repeat, and you do it over and over and over and over again, and you're ready to throw in the towel. You're done. You want something wild, you want some excitement, you want something different in your life right now. And that's what you're focusing on manifesting. That's what the direction that you're focusing on going. But ultimately, you don't want to live in the wild. You don't want to live in that crazy place. You want to find that balance between going out and doing something wild on the weekend and still having some structure in your life during the week. Okay. In order to have that, you have to dream. And you have to get a clear picture on what it is that you want. And then you have to actually focus and manifest it and get it going. You have to make those plans. Okay. The other card that you have in your This Makes Sense is love and let yourself be loved. Why does this card make sense right now? Well, you want community. You got to let people in. One of the things that you are struggling with in your difficult influences is the fact that you've got shields up and walls that you've built up around yourself. So this card makes sense because it's your confirmation that you need to let the walls down, let the shields down, let yourself be loved. If you are focusing on creating community, you need to let someone else in. Okay. Let's have a look at your unexpected insights. Okay, unexpected insights. You have the 15 card, which is the ego card. And I recognize that my face is completely washed out from the sun right now. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You have the ego card. The ego card is the equivalent to the devil card in the traditional tarot. It is the illusion of being trapped. Are you feeling trapped right now? Okay. This is your unexpected insights. The other thing about the ego card coming up, or the devil card, is we need to explore at this time when we're beginning to unleash our wild, when we're moving into something that is unknown. We need to explore why our lives were the way that they were. I'm sitting back like this to get the sun out of my eyes. We need to explore why things were the way they were. Why did we do things the way that we did them, right? And one of the ways that we do that is we hearken back to the cartoons that we used to watch as kids, where we had the little devil on one shoulder, we had the little angel on the other shoulder, and the cartoon character would consult each of them, the devil and the angel, and then they would make their choice. Well, what's to say that something is right and something is wrong? Okay, well, I mean, obviously going out and harming another human is wrong, period. And it doesn't matter where you come from, that's wrong. But the point is that who's to say that monogamy is right for 100% of the human population? We've been taught that that's the only way, but we're animals. Right? We're mammals. Are 100% of all mammals on this planet, if we compare ourselves to other mammals, are they all monogamous? Who's to say that that's right or that's wrong, right? These are the difficult questions that come up when the ego and the devil card appears in our reading. And when we question these things, we can have more clarity about letting go of the past, moving into what may at first appear wild and untamed, but in reality, it's our truth. That's what we're aiming for, is our truth and living in our truth. But when we first decide to embark upon the path of finding our own truth and questioning everything, because that's what this card is about, it seems wild and untamed. The other card that you have in your unexpected insights is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is sensitive and quiet. Watch for a female or more feminine person to be coming into your life, Leo, in the first half of May 2023. There's a possibility that part of this community that you are seeking involves someone with a more feminine energy. Now, I'm not going to say it's necessarily going to be a female. It could be a male, but with that more gentle energy that a lot of males have the capacity to share on very openly. And they're coming into you kind of as a counselor. And not a counselor in the traditional sense of you're going to sit across from the person and they're going to fix things that are wrong, but more in the sense of being a confidant, that good kind of friend that you can open up to and talk about your problems and your issues, and they're just there for you. They are a rock. And that's what the Queen of Cups represents. And so a beautiful card to come up. I'm not even going to get this one to focus. A beautiful card to come up in your reading in the area of unexpected insights and influences. Watch for someone coming in, Leo, that I really feel is going to act as a mentor as you work through this wilderness and as you build new community around yourself, Leo. General overall outcome, celebration, 3 of Cups. Beautiful card. Let's see if we can get that to focus without the sun shining in on it. Okay. Now, the celebration, the 3 of Cups card coming in as your final general overall outcome is an indication that where you're going to be at come the middle of May, Leos, is in this place of more clarity. The understanding that what you have been through has been part of a cycle, right? This card represents cycles. There's 3 women dancing on this card representing the 3 different stages that a woman goes through. Again, you've got feminine energy coming up, that more gentle energy coming in here. So yeah, realize that what you have just been through, although it may have been difficult, you are now in that place of going in a different direction. It's going to feel a little bit wild and untamed at the beginning, Leo, but it's ultimately going to have a beautiful outcome where you're going to be able to celebrate. You're going to be closing off a cycle. Okay. This card represents ending one cycle, beginning a new, but in a subtle way. There are other cards in the tarot that represent the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle that are far more strong, far more forceful, far more in your face. Ouch. Oh my God, that was a huge change. This is more of a, whew, I got through that. Let's go. Let's move forward and let's celebrate and enjoy life. Let's go out and dance in the rain and sing in the rain. Sing like no one's listening, dance like nobody's watching. Come middle of the month, you're really going to be feeling that, Leo. So with that, I'm going to leave off. I hope that you'll join me again in the middle of May.